Hey everyone.
Hi.
No, not you, them. Who? Never mind. Hey, look, they're all messed up. You go out like that? It's disgusting. Have some self-respect. So here's the deal. As I put together these videos and as I put together live streams and so forth, I often kind of wonder, hey, you know what? Am I being creative and engaging, or am I just being a jackass? I really don't know.
You don't know?
I have a feeling you're going to tell me.
Maybe.
All right, fine, whatever. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to host a debate and figure out whether or not these sort of creative, sort of weird things are really the right thing to do. So this guy right here,
Hey there.
he's going to take the side that this is absolutely, utterly ridiculous, while this guy here, hi, he's going to take the side that, no, actually, there's something to this and I should continue to explore it. So let's see what happens. So tell me what you think.
Well, first of all, you really don't even know what you're doing. I mean, look, your lips are still moving.
Well, I know my lips are moving. I don't know how to throw my voice or anything.
Exactly. So you're trying to do stuff that, frankly, you don't even know how to do in the first place.
Well, that's not fair because the way you learn to do these things is by actually doing them.
Yeah, but he's not even trying.
Okay. Guys, let's bring this back to center. What about the creative, sort of innovative, weird things I'm trying to do to make these videos interesting? Well, personally, I think it's a good idea because let's face it, the vast majority of students are really just looking at a box with a video and a dull, dry voice, and it's just not very interesting. Face it, most of your students are just multitasking anyway. If you can give them something fun and interesting, maybe they'll pay attention.
Well, yes, maybe they'll pay attention, but there's a big difference between paying attention and learning.
Yeah, but if they're not paying attention in the first place, they can't learn. So you at least have to do that.
Okay, but what if they're paying attention so much that they're fixated on what he's doing? They're not listening to the content, they're not trying to learn it, they're not trying to process it. They're really just watching and rolling their eyes.
Well, okay, so maybe that's the case with some of them.
Some of them, my guess is that this stuff is pretty extreme and most people find it pretty weird.
Yeah, but you know, he has to experiment and try different things to see what works and what doesn't. You just don't wake up one day and are a fantastic videographer.
Videographer, he's a lecturer.
Yeah, okay, you get my point.
Well, maybe.
So, all right, those are some pretty good points. Let's face it, maybe you are paying attention, but maybe it's so cringy that you're like unable to pay attention to the material. I get it. But is that all there is to it? Well, I don't think so, because different people learn in different ways, and maybe this is a way of tapping into different parts of the brain, imagination, creativity, innovation, things like that.
Well, okay, maybe, but still, hand puppets? I mean, dude, we're pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, I'll give you that. All right, so maybe not hand puppets, but it's a really good point. You know, I try different things, I see what works, I see what doesn't, and sometimes it sticks to the wall and sometimes it doesn't. The spaghetti. Spaghetti?
What do you mean?
Well, you throw it against the wall and, okay, never mind. It's how you see if it's done. Does it work with pudding? No. Don't throw pudding against the wall. So, in any case, interesting debate, I guess. I'll have to mull it over a little bit and see where it goes. So, anyway, let's go ahead and get this started. started indeed. Hey, I hope everybody's having, I know I'm looking in the wrong direction. I should be looking at you, but I'm trying to get things ready. You know how it is. I hope you're having a great, gosh, it's only Monday morning. I was going to say like, have a great week or something, but no, we're just beginning this thing. So thank you very much for joining me and being here on this Monday morning. Yeah, it takes some doing, right? Valeria, thank you. Fantastic. Sounds like you can, I'm going to assume you can hear me because Taylor and Valeria aren't saying, hey, I can't hear you. So good, 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 good. Hey, so yeah, I'm experimenting with different things. And oh, thank you, Taylor. And you know what, Kate, guys, this is what I mean when I say that college is a safe place to try things, look ridiculous, make mistakes, adjust and learn and grow and figure out what works so that when you go out there into the real world, you know what works and you know what doesn't, what makes you look good and what makes you look like a fool. The nice thing is this is college for me too. So I get to try different things and see what works and what doesn't. Okay, you know what? Let's go ahead and get started. What I want to do, pull this over here. Today we are talking about body language and verbal tone. I maintain that we have so little appreciation for the power of body language and verbal tone, and yet it's one of the most important things you can bring to the workplace is a good understanding of this, right? So, for example, when I do these live streams and so forth, I oversell. I oversell this because this is a less rich medium than face-to-face. Now, if we were talking face-to-face right now, I wouldn't be like hyper exuberant, all right? I'd be a little bit more staid and down to earth. But when it comes to using this particular medium, you got to, think about it in terms of tonality and body language because you need to sell it and so forth. I'm a big fan of the old Mythbusters show, and recently I saw a video. He's on, Adam Savage is on YouTube now on a channel called Tested. Adam Savage's Tested. And he explained how when he's on TV or on video, he has to give 110% of his personality to really sell it through this medium, okay? Well, that's an aspect of body language and tone and how important it can be. However, what we're going to do today to kind of start this off is I want to give a couple of examples, all right? So, we've got folks with us, so make sure you can hear everything and so forth. What I am going to do, and I'm kind of moving things around on some screens, so bear with me. What I'm going to do is I am going to, let's see, if I come over to this one, hold on, browser view. Okay. I am going to play some audio. I'm just going to play the audio. And don't worry, it's in English, right? So you'll be fine. And after I play the audio, we're going to kind of ask some questions and play with some ideas, all right? So let me go ahead and play it. Let me know if you cannot hear it. And let's see where this goes.
I am Hermaeus Mora. I am the guardian of the unseen, a knower of the unknown. I have been watching you, mortal. Most impressive. Your continuing aid to Septimus renders him increasingly obsolete. He has served me well, but his time is nearing its end. Once that infernal lockbox is opened, he will have exhausted his usefulness to me. When that time comes, you shall take his place as my emissary. What say you?
Okay, so that was illuminating, right? Let me ask you this. What was going on in this scene? Go ahead and chime in to the... Now, by the way, if anybody here has played Skyrim and you know what happened, do me a favor, don't go in and talk about the whole, world building and mythology and lore of Skyrim and so forth. Yes. So, by the way, Michael James, you said in English, quick question, what other languages do you speak? Well, I speak French and Japanese as well. However, we're going to hear some German here in a moment. So, I'm going to pause for a moment. What was happening in this scene? How does the speaker feel? How do you think the receiver felt? Go ahead and chime in there for a moment. And let's see what you say. And so right here, I need to come over here. Okay, let's come back and take a look at this. So when it comes to what happened in that scene and what was going on and so forth, we got Taylor, the speaker, was giving instructions as well and telling the receiver important, all-knowing, and so on and so forth. Yeah, sort of. But Taylor, I'm going to go out on a limb, and I want everybody to be truthful, okay? You're going to get the points if you're truthful. How many of you just totally phased out? How many of you listened for all of 6 seconds and then started multitasking, phasing out, just stopped paying attention? How many of you really have no idea what he was talking about? And frankly, I didn't even really hear it much. Taylor says I listened but definitely wasn't engaged. Yeah. Josh, yeah, hands up. Couldn't understand him. Okay, guys, this is good stuff, believe it or not. So I'm going to explain. All right. I was busy typing. Exactly. Multitasking. All right. Exactly multitasking, right? So I listened but did not understand. Very good. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let me explain, guys. That was in English. That was totally in English, and it was a job offer. It was a job offer. The guy was getting a promotion, a job offer. His service to me has been rendered increasingly obsolete. When that time comes, you will be my new emissary. What say you? All that sort of crap, right? It was a job offer. Now, here's the good stuff, all right? I want you to put in all the reasons why you had a difficult time understanding, why you couldn't hear it, why it was not engaging, why you didn't pay attention. It's all good stuff, all right? Michael James says, I admit it. Yeah, no. I want you to admit, explain to me all the reasons why you totally were not plugged into that, Okay, so let's come back to our question. Okay, very good, very good. And by the way, we're just going to pump these bad boys right on up there. They're just going right up to the top. We've got the contributors, we've got the comments. So yeah, you know what this means, folks. What you want to do is go ahead and email me after the lecture your timestamp of 8:41. 8:41. All right. And we'll go ahead. I'm going to type that in there right there, just so that we have it for the record. 8:41. Okay. Now, let's show you how smart you guys are, because you hit the points. All right. So Josh says, wasn't paying attention because I'm at my desk at work right now. I couldn't really understand it and so gave up. Right? Okay. So this is noise in the environment. You're focusing at work, you're trying to focus to the assignment, and then this thing is coming through, not super clear. Your mind cannot focus on multiple things, and so noise in the environment. Very good. So Marlene says the tone he was talking in. Yeah, it was really monotone. Really monotone. So when I'm speaking, you notice I'm using all kinds of tonality. I'm going up and down, up and down. Might be a little annoying at times, but in fact, the ear gets just as bored as the eye. And this person was talking like this the whole time with no tonality and very slow and very low. Oh my gosh, you're already phasing out even with me, right? Okay, very good. No real tone, was speaking very slowly and quietly, right? Said Taylor. Yeah, no animation, no gusto. We need these things. It's powerful. Kristen says the accent was heavy, right? He had this weird accent, right? That was supposed to sound all, Saruman and so on and so forth, Sauron. Very true. It was monotone. So Sadie brought up the monotone point, right? Yeah. 8:30 in the morning on a Monday, and I'm supposed to listen to this garbage? Not going to happen, right? Slow, slurring, Valeria says. Very good introduction. Here's the thing. One more thing. There was a lot of white noise in the recording. Okay, there was this. Now, you may not have heard it, but if you turned up your volume to hear it, you probably heard this constant. Now, that white noise really gets in the way of clearly understanding something. So that matters when you're in the room giving a presentation in the workplace and there's a fan going on. Yeah, that's white noise. Okay, excellent work. Now, let me give you another example. And to do this, I'm going to come back over here for a moment because I need to pull up. I am going to pull up something else. I'm going to pull up this, and I'm going to hit pause. Pause, 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 pause. Okay. And then we can go ahead and reduce this and then pull that back. Just trying to tee everything up. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to watch a video clip. And I am going to pause the video clip at several points and ask you questions about what's happening. And furthermore, this video clip is in German, all right? Now, I don't know if you speak German, but whether you speak it or not, you are going to find that because of the body language and the tonality, you will understand this scene far better than you understood an audio recording in English. So let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to come down over here. Here we go. And let's go ahead and start this. Like I say, I'm going to pause a few times and ask you what's going on. Okay, what was he just doing there? All right, now, you know the answer. I'm going to go ahead and keep talking, but do me a favor and type while I'm talking. Because of his tonality and because of the body language, you know what he was just doing there. So let me know what you think. You're going to notice things like where he was pointing, what he was pointing to. And if you were paying attention, you also notice that his tonality was going da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da. What does that tonality tell you? So tell me what you think. As you go ahead and type and so forth, telling Hitler the routes they'll take, maybe where the army was going, explaining where they were going, giving instructions. Yes, 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 yes. It's really, you don't speak German, but you know that he was explaining something that had to do with some sort of plan and instruction. Okay? Very good. Let's continue.
Mit dem Angriff Steiners wird das alles in Ordnung kommen.
Mein Führer, Steiner konnte nicht genügend Kräfte für einen Angriff massieren. Der Angriff Steiner ist nicht erfolgt.
So those gentlemen who just explained something to their fearless leader there, how do they feel? How do they feel about what they were just telling him? So you can tell from, yeah, Taylor, scared, nervous. You don't need to speak German to understand, Sadie, yeah, that they were nervous, okay? Their body language and their tone said, "Ugh." All right, let's continue on.
Es bleiben im Raum Keitel, Jode, Krebs und Burgdorf.
Now, Hitler there seems very calm and at peace, at ease with what he just said. Or did he? What do you think Hitler is feeling? He's shaking so bad, right? His body language says he was just barely keeping it together. Barely keeping it together, right? Seems like he's going to rip these guys a new one. Totally, right? Now, let's continue on, see how this goes. Oh, they look so excited to be there.
Das war ein Befehl! Der Angriff Steiners war ein Befehl! Wer sind Sie, dass Sie es wagen, sich meinen Befehl zu widersetzen? So weit ist das also gekommen.
They're clearly looking forward to the after party, right? Okay, you get what I'm saying. Here's what I'm inviting you to embrace, is that I played something for you in English,
Sorry, getting all that all set and so forth. Let's tee this up. Here we go. I played something for you in English, and you were like, I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know what he's talking about. And yeah, I show you a scene in German, and you're like, I know exactly what's happening here. That is the extraordinary power of body language and tone. I don't know about you. I know I'm geeking out, but I find that amazing. And so, yeah, you can watch a foreign language film, even one that doesn't have subtitles, and you can follow it most of the time, right? Whereas, here's another example. Okay, so I speak French and Japanese. Michael James speaks Russian. I think that's where you're from, I believe. Sadie, I think perhaps you speak Spanish. Maybe that's something you shared. I don't know. But here's the point. If I'm speaking French face-to-face with somebody, I can understand about 70%, 70. However, if I'm speaking French with somebody on the phone, I'm lucky to get 10%. That is how important body language can be. All right, Sadie, maybe the same with you, or maybe you're like uber, what's the word, fluent? I'm not uber fluent, apparently not in English either. Okay, so let's continue to play with this, all right? Josh as well. Yeah, maybe the case with you as well. More than words, body language and tone really communicate. More than words, body language and tone communicate feelings and attitudes. Okay? So, for example, if I say to my dog, "Who's a stupid little dog? Who's a stupid little dog?" He's going to get all excited because body language and tone are more important than the words. Whereas if we say to somebody, I just love you so much, you're going to be like, dude. Well, what do you mean? I just said I love you so much. No, your body language and tone says you're kind of on psychopath track, and I'm out of here, right? So really important, all right? So we have a lot of people who habla español. That's fantastic. I've actually thought about taking it. I'm in the film program right now, so all the classes I'm taking are for movies and film and so forth, but I really want to do Spanish. Okay, so let's share some stats with you. Just kind of interesting stuff. And I'm going to go ahead and get out my Uber marker here. 70% of messages pertain to feelings and attitudes are in the words that are spoken. Only 7%. The words that we use only communicate 7% of the meaning. 38% of the message is in paralinguistics, tonality, and 55% of the message is in facial expression, this stuff. So that's why if you were just listening, if I were doing a podcast, if this lesson, this class, this lecture, there we go, this lecture. If this lecture were in a podcast with no visuals, and I was speaking like this the whole time, saying 7% of the message pertaining to feelings are in the words spoken, you would totally zone out because you really want and appreciate and learn better from this 38% and this 55%. Okay? All right. Yeah, Sadie, I would die. I know, right? I'm with you. That's why I do this crap, because boy, when I go to some of my classes or when my wife was doing her master's and it was just this box of somebody talking and reading from a sheet, I was like, that's an abomination. Okay.
body language, it's really not that hard to see how important it can be in the workplace, right? So this is the same woman in the same dress, in the same chair, right? And she's preparing for an interview. She's waiting to interview somebody or to be interviewed. Well, a hiring manager, and folks, just so you know, I have been a hiring manager in hundreds of interviews. When you walk out and see somebody, oh my gosh, it matters. Now, maybe later on I'll tell you some stories about that when we talk about maybe interviews and resumes in a future lecture. But right now, let me just say it matters. You know, this person clearly doesn't want to be there. She does not want this job. She doesn't want to be there, right? This person, okay, she's kind of bored, right? Just daydreaming a little bit, looking off into the distance, maybe not fully there. This person is there and kind of looking forward to the interview, maybe a little casual, but maybe not. Kind of depends on the culture of the place where she's interviewing, right? This person is all set and ready to go, maybe a little too much so. Now, I understand that the person who created this picture, you know, wanted to really draw some stark contrast between the four pictures. And so they wanted to say, yeah, this person is eager. They might be a little overeager, right? Maybe the person I want to interview is right in between those two. The point is, that matters. Now, there's another way in which body language matters. And at this, you know, I would like to invite all of you to, after this is done or sometime later today or this week, watch the TED Talk by Amy Cuddy. I'm going to put it right here, TED Talk by Amy Cuddy. Okay, she is a Harvard researcher, and she does some extraordinary research on what she calls high power and low power body language. Okay, now I'm going to just give you the primer on it. I'm not going to go into depth because that's her wheelhouse, not mine. But trust me, you'll be doing yourself a favor if you watch her TED Talk. Anyway, let's continue on. According to Amy Cuddy, these right here, these poses here are what she would call high power poses. Okay? Whereas the ones down here, these here, she would call these low power poses. All right? Now, I'm curious, and I'll go ahead and we'll do the question thing. Type in the comments, let me know why you think these high power poses show power, and tell me why you think these low power poses show low power. Okay? So let's go to our questions and tell me what you think. Now, I want to leave this up. I'm going to leave this up. So I am going to come on over here and kind of get out of your way and just tell me what you think. Why are the high power poses high and why are the low power poses low? And I'm just coming off frame so I don't distract you or anything. And I won't sing a song unless you want me to sing a song. But I won't torture you with a song. Yeah, tell me what you think. Why are the highs high and the lows low? Let's see what we have got. And Amy Cuddy is so good. You really want to do yourself a favor and watch her stuff. Okay, let's come back and take a look. So,
Michael James, would you say totally inert can be expressed, or rather acutely expressed, with proper punctuation and grammar, similar, physical gestures? That is not a bad idea. Yes, physical gestures can give off a load of credibility, right? And really demonstrate that you know what you're talking about. Valeria, low power, shoulders down, bad posture, closed off. Everybody, and in fact, I want to give you guys credit for this. So I'm going to call these real world examples. Closed off is key, all right? High power, good posture, body is open, right? Open versus closed. Excellent. Let's see. Sadie, shows intimidation, right? Yeah, the high power is intimidating. The low power is intimidated, right? Yeah, totally. You've got it. Taylor, I think the high power poses make you look bigger, taking up more space versus small and hunched over. Yes, this is exactly what Amy talks about in her research. Is they even do this in the animal kingdom, right? I'm large and in charge versus I hope you don't see me, leave me alone, ignore me, right? That sort of thing. Absolutely, absolutely. You guys hit some key marks. Here's one more. And I know this is weird, okay, but bear with me. These high power poses, notice, and I'll get a different color here so we can, I'll show you what I mean. They are exposing their vitals, their soft bellies. They're not trying to hide their soft, where they're most vulnerable, right? Whereas these folks, they're trying to close themselves off, covering her neck, right? Closing down, covering his vitals, right? So the point is that a high power pose says, I'm so large and in charge, I can show off all my weakness and my vulnerability, and I'm not intimidated at all because I'm that much, right? Whereas the low power poses is, oh, I'm scared, I want to cover up. There's this thing, I really enjoy nature documentaries. I know this is a slight tangent, but please bear with me. I enjoy nature documentaries, and one of the things they talk about is when a lion goes off after a gazelle, this gazelle will jump up and down. When he or she runs away, the gazelle is jumping way high in the air with each bound, right? Now, this is really, really an inefficient use of energy. It takes a lot of energy to bounce that high, and bouncing that high does not get you away from the lion because you've only gone, maybe 10 feet with each bound. Whereas if you were to just run in a straight line, you would be using your energy more efficiently and you would be getting away from the lion faster. And so why does the gazelle bound up and down? It's a show of intimidation to the lion. It's the gazelle's way of saying, listen, I am so strong and so healthy and so energetic, I can waste all kinds of energy just doing this, and I'm not intimidated by you at all. You don't want to chase me, I'm just fine. You want to go find something slow and sick and elderly because, oh, that ain't me, this is not your dinner. So it's kind of interesting how we demonstrate to others that we're in charge. And in this case, we're demonstrating to others that we're in charge by taking up space and being very free with exposing our soft yellow underbelly, okay? Now, there's something rather interesting when and hey, check it out, a typo.
Oh, that's great, Lon, a typo. There's something rather interesting that Amy shares when it comes to body poses. She did this really interesting study, and this matters to you in the workplace, all right? This is a workplace tip. We all kind of accept that our brain affects how our body expresses itself. So if we are scared and intimidated, we do this with our bodies, all right? But if we're strong, confident, and in charge, we do this with our bodies. Well, Amy found Amy and I'm on first name basis with Amy. Dr. Cuddy found that it works the other way around as well. Our minds will shift to mirror what our bodies are doing. So she did this study where she took a whole bunch of people that were going to a fake job interview, okay? Half the sample group, she said, just go to the job interview. Walk in, do the job interview. And the other half, she said, I want you to go to the bathroom before the interview and stand in front of the mirror and practice power poses for 10 minutes. So for 10 minutes, just sit there and go, power poses for 10 minutes, okay? Well, it turns out, as you can well imagine, those who did the power poses for 10 minutes scored much higher than those who had not when it comes to likelihood of being hired. So if you fake it, you will make it. All right. Now, that was from a legitimate, robust, credible study from a Harvard researcher. Let me tell you from personal experience, it's true. All right. I'm still faking this crap. All right, let's keep going. There's all kinds of things you want to consider when it comes to elements of style and tone. We're not going to do a deep dive. I just want to kind of get your minds going a little bit. You know, obviously, you know, how we use voice, are we using, you know, vernacular, slang, colloquial, things like that. So for example, me, I tend to use a fair amount of slang and maybe slightly irreverent language because I want to set you at ease. Sure, I could go ahead and put my PhD degree in the background and speak like some pedantic ass and try to intimidate with language. I'd rather put up comic books and be a little bit more colloquial, a little more informal, a little less formal. That way, I hope to put you at ease when doing it. Word choice, how formal are we? As you see, I have a mixed level of formality. Sentence construction, remember, a really good communication is clear and direct and concise. If you have a sentence that runs on and on and on, and it's a compound, complex sentence, it is going to convey a different intention. And as we talked about with business speak, the intention most likely is to intimidate you. Sentence variety, use of figures of speech, use of contractions, did, didn't, or didn't, can't, ain't, that sort of thing. And literary devices, meaning are we going to use metaphors and analogies and things like that. All of these things all together, and yeah, you can do 100 PhD dissertations on how all these things intersect. All these things combined really set your style and tone when you're writing. Now, you guys know the answer to who decides the style and tone? Your audience, not you, right? Your audience. You decide your purpose, that decides your audience, which then decides your channel, which then decides the format, which ultimately decides the style and tone. You're going to take a different style and tone with me when you use text, right, than you are in a formal email asking me to give you a reference for a university program, right? So remember, it all depends on the purpose and the audience. Okay. One last thing, and then we're going to wrap it up. All right. Be aware of bias when you're communicating, especially in you know, kind of style and tone. Bias is a big thing going on, and for good reason. Okay. I'm not hemming and hawing because I don't want to address it. I freaking love talking about this stuff. I'm trying to figure out how best to tie it in with what we're talking about. Let me give you an example. All right. I'm gonna give you a riddle, and get ready to type the answer. All right. Get ready to type the answer. And if I get some answers, I'm gonna bring up the real world examples, and we'll get an extra point. Okay. So this father and son decide to go out on a fishing trip one day. And so the father loads up all the gear and so on and so forth, puts the son in the car, and they're driving off to go fishing. And they get in an accident. It's a horrible accident, horrendous, and both the father and the son are horribly injured. The father, in fact, dies. The father dies in this accident. And the son is just on the edge, critical condition. So helicopter comes in and life flights the son off to the nearest emergency room. Son is put on the operating table. They need to operate right away to save his life. And the doctor walks in, looks at the boy on the table and goes, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm emotionally compromised. I can't operate on this patient. This is my son. So, how can that be the doctor's son if the father died in the car crash? What do you think? And yeah, some of you know the answer. How can that be the doctor's son if the father died in the car crash? Yeah, Taylor. Bam. The doctor is the mother. Okay, now I'm not asking for a raise of hands, okay? But I've told this enough times to know that in many cases, this doesn't occur to us. When we have in our mind's eye an emergency room surgeon, your mind's eye is seeing a white male. That's your mind's eye, white male. Now, I apologize, it may not be. I'm talking in aggregate, statistically. Obviously, Taylor didn't fall for this crap, right? But we tend to have in our mind's eye who we're speaking with. And so when we choose what kind of language we use, when we choose what kind of tone to use and so forth, we may, without realizing it, use language and tone that would work great for a white male, but maybe not for a black female surgeon. Okay? I forget which son are doctors back when we were in Memphis. Right now I'm thinking of Dr., but I can't remember her name. Black female surgeon, right? Let's see. Yeah, okay, Taylor, my first thought was the doctor is the dad, so it took me a minute. That's normal, okay? So all I'm saying is every once in a while we fall into this trap, and we need to make sure that the language and tone we use isn't biased toward any gender or toward any ethnicity or age or so on and so forth, right? We have a faculty member here at Salt Lake Community College, and I'll say she is a rather young faculty member, okay? And she's not quite done with her doctorate, but she'll be done with her doctorate here fairly soon. But as a fairly young faculty member, the vast majority of students, when she walks in the room, just assume she's another one of the students, right? Because when you think of faculty member, you think of this crap. You think of the old dude, right? So just a fun little riddle that you guys can go off and tell to your friends, right? And that's it. There we go. Fantastic. Very good job. I really hope that this was an effective way of demonstrating to you the power of tone and body language and facial expressions. This matters in the workplace. Oh my gosh, I could tell you stories of where basically I sold it with the tone and body language and facial expressions. So this is, if you've ever wondered, what does this stuff matter for the real world? This stuff matters, okay? So in regular tradition, I'll stick around for a little bit. If you have any questions, comments, watch that TED Talk by Amy Cuddy. You'll be glad you did. And until then, you guys go off and have a fantastic week, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Have a good one.